We're now going to begin the open class sheep show. So I'm going to pass it over.
The first open class we're going to start with is market lambs. We have Taylor Mays with a crossbred and Mackenzie Walter also with a crossbred. The first class is market lambs.
Two good young showmen out here with bright futures ahead of them. I think that they're both doing a really good job. They brought in some docile sheep, which helps as well. I'm going to go ahead and use the young man to win. He's doing a really nice job. He's getting after it. Young lady, you're doing a very nice job as well. Just get a little bigger and get a little more hands-on, and you're going to be doing great. Thanks.
Up next for the open class, we have Tiffany Mays with the Crossbred Commercial U. Nice single entry breeding ewe that this young man's brought out here. One I really appreciate for her extra shape and dimension up high, how she feeds wide over her rack and all the way back through her loin. If I could change a couple things about her, I'd like to see her just tucked up a little bit more on her chest floor and wedged more correctly from her chest to her flank. But overall, a very nice ewe. Thanks. Up next, we will have Dlt Family Farms with a Hampshire ewe under a year old.
Another nice single entry ewe, one I really appreciate for her extra length and extension up high, how she attaches high to the top side of her shoulder. Another one that's carrying a lot of mass and runs uphill, but we're gonna bring her back for overall. And two really nice ewes. I'm going to go ahead and use the higher performing, heavier boned ewe out of the second class to win. It's just her extra extension up front and length of body that I tie into. That's not to take anything away from the one that comes out of the first class. She's very good in her own right, just one that I would like to see tucked up in her chest floor a little bit. But with that, grand.
First call for the 4-H and FFA Sheep Show. First call for the FFA Sheep Show. We are going to have the 4-H pledge and the Pledge of Allegiance by Indian Creek 4-H. Please stand and remove cover.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I pledge my head to clearer thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to better service, and my health to better living for my club, my community, my country, and my world.
Okay, we're ready to start the first class in the show, and we're starting with showmanship. Senior showmanship first. Senior showman, ages 14 and older. Our judge for this evening is Emmett Caldwell. He was on the University of Nebraska Livestock judging team in 2018. Currently resides in Lincoln and works for Producers Livestock Marketing.
Three good senior showmen out here. I'll go back through and talk with them on an individual basis, but for the most part, they're all doing a very good job. What I'm looking for is just the fundamentals of showmanship. I want to see how quick they can get that lamb set up, see if they can get them to brace, and you can start telling how much work they've done at home. Past that, are you ever standing between me and the animal? When I come around the front, I want to make sure I'm getting every view of that sheep. So just for the younger ones that'll be coming in later, those are the kind of things I'm looking for. But I'll talk to these individuals real quick. Young man in the middle and the young lady on this side will be coming back for overall. Thank you.
Your champion senior showman is Jordan Mussel. The reserve champion senior showman is Trenton Hoffman Ideas, and receiving a blue ribbon, Maddie Yoakum of Winemore. Entering the ring now is intermediate showman. We have one entry in the intermediate showmanship. Second call for junior division showmanship. Second call, junior division showmanship. And our star ringman is Tyler Woken.
Talked with this young man individually. He's doing a good job out here, especially when that lamb cooperates a little bit better. But very nice job, good single entry. Thanks.
Receiving a purple ribbon and champion intermediate showman goes to Joey Hoffman Ideas. Entering the ring now is junior showmanship. And after that, we will have the finals. And then we will move into the breeding sheep program. Our sponsors for this evening, for the Showmanship Awards, Security First Bank of Beatrice. The belt buckle winners in the senior division is sponsored by Mussel Club Lambs, Dlt and Lana Mussel family. The intermediate division belt buckle sponsored by Scully Estates, and the junior division belt buckle is sponsored by Carriage Motors. Correction in the order: right after showmanship, the finals, we will do the Pee-wee showmanship. Right after the showmanship finals, we will do the Pee-wee showmanship, and then we will move into the breeding. Once again, our sponsors for the Showmanship are Security First Bank in Beatrice, belt buckle winners for the senior division, Mussel Club Lambs, Darrell and Lana Mussel family, intermediate division, Scully Estates, and the junior division belt buckle sponsored by Carriage Motors. In the ring now is Junior Division Showmanship.
Good set of junior showmen out here. The young man on the end, I can tell he's been putting in a lot of work at home. This clearly isn't his first year showing sheep either. Both of these two young men on the end did a very good job of what I was looking for, getting their lambs set up, giving me all those views I was looking for. I talked with them on an individual basis, but the one closest to me is going to be your champion. The one behind him is going to be your reserve. Thank you.
Champion junior showman goes to Grant Mussel. Reserve champion junior showman Ethan Hoffman Ideas of Cortland. Receiving blue ribbons, Zach Chanelli of Jansen, Hannah Chanelli of Jansen, and Lane Chanelli of Diller. Entering the ring now is your championship go-round for sheep showmanship in the 4-H division, and then also following this will be Pee-wee showmanship, so get organized there. Your sponsors for showmanship here at the Gage County Fair is Security First Bank of Beatrice, Mussel Club Lambs of Daryl and Lana Mussel family, sponsoring the senior division. Sponsoring the intermediate division is Scully Estates, and sponsoring the junior division is Carriage Motors. Is there a representative of Security First here at the Sheep Show? Security First Bank? If so, please come to the front desk. Our judge for this evening is Emmett Caldwell from Lincoln, Nebraska.
All of these showmen are doing a really, really nice job. Those of you that maybe didn't make it out here, I would encourage you and hope that you're standing ringside to pick up some pointers. But with that, I'm going to try to keep the show rolling here this evening. I'm going to go show you the top 4 that I like in the order that I like them. Thanks.
Champion overall showman goes to Jordan Mussel of Swanton.
Oh, Ashton.
Reserve champion overall showman Tren Hoffman Ideas of Cortland. Third place overall showman Grant Mussel of Wilbur. And fourth place overall Joey Hoffman Ideas of Cortland. We will now move into the Pee Wee Showmanship. Once again, our sponsors for the Showmanship Award: Security First Bank of Beatrice, the overall showman; Senior Division, Mussel Club Lambs, Daryl and Lana Mussel; Intermediate Division, Scully Estates; and the Junior Division, Carriage Motors.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are very pleased to present on behalf of the Gage County Ag Society and Farm Credit Services of America, the Pee Wee Showmanship. Each of the shows has a division, non-competitive, for these wonderful future show kids to be a part of the fair. And we're so excited to have everybody, so we invite the kids. If you need a lamb, see a 4-H or FFA member there in the center. And we would like to make sure everybody's nice and safe, so take some space between your exhibitors. Grab an older child if you need to make sure that the lamb doesn't run over you. The judge is in the middle of the arena with the blue checkered or plaid shirt. He may come and ask you a little bit about your lamb. Any other Pee Wee who'd like to be in the arena now, please report to the gate, and we'll enter you in the fun of Pee Wee Showmanship. We've already today had the horse Pee Wee Showmanship, and we've had dairy Pee Wee Showmanship. We would like to note that on behalf of the celebration of the 150th Gage County Fair, the Ag Society has cookies for you. They're on the table there at the entrance in the center of the building. So please help yourselves in celebration of 150 wonderful years of the Gage County Fair. Okay, here comes another one. So if anybody would like to be in Pee Wee Showmanship yet, please report to the center of the arena, and we'll make sure that there's a lamb for you to show. Let's give all these future showmen, show people a hand. Good job, everybody. Farm Credit Services again and the Gage County Ag Society sponsor the little backpack award for each of the kids. So we love having you out here, and we hope to see you back in the future. Or you can also participate in some of the other Pee Wee shows of the other species. So thanks, everybody. Thanks, parents. Enjoy the show.
Starting off here with the breeding sheep division. Coming in is Class 1 with ewe lambs, Hampshire ewe lambs. First call, Hampshire yearling ewes. Our breeding sheep champions are sponsored by Farmers Cooperative and Dlt Family Farms.
Good start to the breeding ewe show. Young man on the end is going to be first in this class. That's just a real powerful kind of ewe who carries a lot of shape up high. She's bulled to the turn out of the top side of her rib cage. She's one that I would like to see with a little more extension up front and tuck her up just a nickel in her chest floor and make her a touch more coordinated off her rear too, but overall a very nice female. The one that follows her up, she has that extra extension and length I'm looking for up front. She drives a nickel better from her chest floor to her flank, but one that doesn't carry quite as much product, one that I wish just came stouter out of her pin set and handled a touch fresher to the edge of her loin. That's not to take away from the one that rounds the class out. She's at a clear size disadvantage out here, but she's another high-tying, thin-necked ewe that I think has a really bright future ahead of her. Thank you.
Coming in the ring now are Hamp yearling ewes. The results of the ewe lamb class, receiving a purple, Tren Hoffman Ideas of Cortland. Also receiving a purple, Joey Hoffman Ideas of Cortland. And receiving a blue ribbon, Ethan Hoffman Ideas of Cortland. First call, Suffolk ewe lambs. First call, Suffolk ewe lambs.
Another nice pair of ewes out here. I'm going to leave them just how they walked in. The young man's that starts off, she's a real youthful fronted, tall fronted kind of ewe that feeds so much shape and dimension down either side of her spine. And then when I step in behind her, you can see that she's bulled centered and has plenty of turn to her lower leg and stifle. One that if I have to pick on her, I'd like to tuck her up in her chest floor just a little bit, but she's so coordinated and comfortable in her skeleton on the move. The ewe that follows her up, she's just a little bit lower tying and isn't as coordinated or comfortable when she sets into motion, but she is one that I think has some product and can inject that into her progeny. Both very nice ewes. Thank you.
Receiving a purple ribbon, Tran Hoffman Ideas, and receiving also a purple ribbon, Joey Hoffman Ideas of Cortland. Entering the ring now is the Hampshire Age ewe. And then we'll select the champion Hamp and we'll move on to the Suffolk class. Okay, the AGU is a scratch on that, so we need the first and second place Hampshire winners in the ring, ready for the final drive for the Hampshire breeding ewe. Second call, Suffolk ewe lambs. First call, registered other breeds.
Good set of hamp ewes. It's going to be the young man's out of the second class that I'm going to use to win. She's just the higher tying, fresher handling ewe that has so much power and product in her while still being comfortable on the move that I really tie into. The one that comes out of the first class is going to be the reserve. That's another kind of neat made ewe. I would like to see her tie just a nickel higher and be a touch picked up in that chest floor, but both very good females. Thanks.
The champion Hampshire goes to Tren Hoffman Ideas. The reserve champion also goes to Tren Hoffman Ideas of Cortland. Entering the ring now will be the Suffolk ewe lamb. Once again, our sponsors for the sheep show. The champion is sponsored by Farm Credit Services of America. That's the market lambs. I'm looking for the breeding lambs. On the breeding side, the grand champion is sponsored by Farmers Cooperative, and the reserve champion is sponsored by Dlt Family Farms.
A nice single entry ewe. She's ultra youthful fronted. She ties high to the top side of her shoulder. I appreciate how tucked up she is in her chest floor and how fresh she is on the handle. She carries quite a bit of product really from her rack to her loin. Just one that I would like to see have a little bit more turn to her lower leg and stifle. Thank you.
Champion Suffolk goes to Shaylee Kessler of Claytonia. Now we'll do the registered other breeds. First call, commercial ewe lambs. First call, commercial ewe lambs.
Another nice single entry, one I appreciate from the side, especially her front 1/3, how jacked up she is in that front end. She's ultra youthful fronted, tall fronted, thin neck. There's a lot of neat pieces that she can breed off of. Just one that I would like to see a little more power injected to. Thank you.
Champion registered other breeds goes to Shaylee Kessler of Claytonia. Entering the ring now is the commercial ewe lamb class. Should be 2 head in this class. Second call for crossbred yearling ewes and aged ewes.
Two really, really nice commercial ewe lambs out here. I'm going to go ahead and start with the more moderate framed ewe. She's one that I just truly appreciate for how much power and she carries. She's a shot more athletic in motion. She wants to get just a nickel quick in her step, but that's not to fault her too hard. She's one that she could be a notch taller fronted, but overall a very, very nice ewe. The one I'm going to follow her up with, not to take away from her, is the taller fronted, earlier maturing kind of ewe, but one that I could pick up in her chest for just a nickel. She doesn't have quite the same firm handle to her, and she gets a little less secure in her hock on the go, but two very nice ewes. Thanks.
Winning the ewe lamb class with the purple ribbon goes to Jordan Mussel of Wilbur. Also receiving a purple is Grant Mussel of Wilbur. The next class coming in will be a yearling ewe. Should be one entry. Second call, aged ewe. And then we'll have the selection of the commercial champion and then the overall champion. The overall champion breeding ewe is sponsored by Farmers Cooperative. The reserve champion breeding ewe is sponsored by Dlt Family Farms.
A nice single entry ewe, one that I really appreciate, especially for her rear skeleton and how she gets out and motors around the ring. She ties high to the top side of her shoulder and she's bowled through the center portion of her body. One that if I had to pick on her, I'd like to freshen her up just a little bit, pick her up in her chest floor, and maybe give her a shot more muscle to her lower leg and stifle. Thank you.
Receiving a purple ribbon, Ethan Hoffman Ideas of Cortland. Entering the ring now will be the aged crossbred ewe. Following this, we'll have the champion and reserve selection of the commercial breeding ewe.
Another single entry ewe here, one that I really appreciate for her front third, how she ties neat into her shoulder, and she's a tall fronted, thin neck kind of ewe. Just one that I would like to see a touch more comfortable and secure in her skeleton when she gets out and goes. Thank you.
Receiving a purple ribbon, Maddie Yoakum of Winemore. We will now have the selection of the Grand and Reserve Champion commercial breeding ewes, followed by the selection of the Grand Overall Champion. First call, market lambs. First call, market lambs.
pretty good quality in the commercial use show. I guess for me, there's two that really put it together out here and have some truly unique breeding pieces, and that's not to take away from the ones that maybe don't get the slap. They're both going to go home and be very good ewes, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to keep the pair out of the first class together. Those two are just so exotic compared to the others in their shape and dimension and how they handle themselves on the move. Thank you.
Champion commercial breeding ewe goes to Jordan Mussel of Wilbur. Reserve champion goes to Grant Mussel of Wilbur. Now we will have the overall this overall breeding ewe champion selection. The champion breeding ewe is sponsored by Farmers Cooperative. The reserve champion breeding ewe is sponsored by DLT Family Farms. Second call market lambs, class group 1 market lambs, second call.
Overall, a really high quality use show. That being said, I've talked to all these animals in class in their respective divisions. I'm going to go out and show you which two I like. Thank you.
Our judge for today is Emmett Caldwell of Lincoln, Nebraska. Champion overall breeding ewe, sponsored by Farmers Cooperative, goes to Jordan Mussel of Wilbur. For the champion and reserve champion sheep winners here, if you would go over to the Gage County Fair and Expo sign for a picture from the fair board. Jordan Mussel, please report to the white Gage County Fair and Expo board there for a picture, please. Reserve champion goes to Grant Mussel of Wilbur, and that is sponsored by DLT Family Farms. Congratulations to all the winners. If the champion and reserve champion breeding ewe would go over to the sign, we will wait on the market lamb class until the pictures are done, please. All right, we are now ready for the first class of market lambs. First class of market lambs should be 5 head in this division. They're going to weigh from 108 to 118 pounds. The champion market lamb is sponsored by Gage County Farm Bureau. The reserve champion market lamb is sponsored by the State Bank of Odell.
A pair of really high quality sheep to start off the market show. The young lady's ewe lamb's the one that does it for me though. She is so level hipped and cool design from the side. She attaches high to the top side of her shoulder. As I get in behind her, she is so exotic in the muscle shape to her lower leg and stifle. She feeds wide out of the top side of her dock. And when I put my hands on her, she's easily the hardest handling, freshest sheep out here today. That's not to take away much from the one that comes in second. That's a taller fronted, probably more secure on the move sheep. Just one that when I put my hands on him, he doesn't carry quite the same shape up high. He gets just a touch softer to his edges, but both very nice sheep. The young man's that comes in third is one that I really appreciate for how much product he carries on the top side of his spine and how he feeds wide from his rack all the way into his loin. Just a sheep that when I step in behind doesn't have as much lower leg and stifle and isn't as neat made from the side. The one that follows him is another fresh handling sheep, but it's one that doesn't give you quite that same aesthetic on the profile. but still has plenty of product to take to the rail. The young lady that rounds out the class, I anticipated to be a softer handling sheep given it's a white face, but it just truly doesn't carry enough product for me to move any higher today. Thank you.
Entering the ring now will be Group 2. Second call, Group 3 market lambs. The results of Group 1, receiving a purple ribbon, Jordan Mussel of Wilbur. Also receiving a purple, Jordan Mussel. And receiving a purple, Zach Chanelli of Jansen. Receiving blue ribbons, Hannah Chanelli of Jansen. And Maddie Yoakum of Wymore. We should have 5 head in Group 2. Second call, Group 3 market lambs. Once again, our sponsors for the Grand Champion Market Lamb is Gage County Farm Bureau. And Reserve Champion is sponsored by the State Bank of Odell. The results of the judging contest are now complete and in, and you can come to the announcer stand to get your results and ribbon. But the livestock judging contest results are in, and they're up here at the announcer stand. So come get your ribbon. Thank you.
Another really nice set of market lambs out here is the young man's heavy booted weather that catches me from the start. He's super athletic in motion and cool made from the side, has a lot of power through his lower leg and stifle, and he's the freshest handling when I get my hands on him. That's not to take away from the young ladies that's going to come next. That's an ultra round bodied one that has tons of shape up high. I wish he'd feed just a nickel wider out of his dock and be tucked up a little bit more in that chest floor, but both two very high quality lambs taking a lot of product to the rail. The young man's that comes next is one that I appreciate for how it ties high to the top side of his shoulder. His lamb just gets a little plainer in his muscle shape and a little rounder out of the top side of his dock, and that's why he falls third. From there, I appreciate this young man's weather for his rack shape. It just doesn't feed as wide into his loin. He gets softer to his edges and gets real plain to the lower portion of his leg. That's not to take away from him, though. There's still quality in that sheep. And the young man that we round the class out with is just a flatter, plainer made sheep, but one I do appreciate for his extra length and extension up high. Thank you.
The results of the judging contest are posted on the whiteboard over there by the beef barn, in the beef barn. The results of Group 2, receiving a purple, Grant Mussel of Wilbur. Receiving a purple, Hannah Chanelli of Jansen. And also receiving a purple, Trent Hoffman Ideas of Cortland. Receiving blue ribbons, Joey Hoffman Ideas of Cortland. And also receiving a blue, Lane Chanelli of Diller. Entering the ring now will be Group 3. Once again, the judging contest results are posted on the whiteboard in the show barn. In the ring now is Group 3 of Market Lambs. Following this class, we will have the selection of the Grand and Reserve Champion. The champion is sponsored by Gage County Farm Bureau. Reserve Grand Champion is sponsored by the State Bank of Odell.
Another high quality set of market lambs. It's the young lady's wether that I'm going to use to start off. He's just a higher performing, taller fronted kind of sheep that's so firm in the handle over his rack and loin with some extra shape and dimension to his lower leg. That's not to take away from the young man's. That one probably spreads a nickel wider in his rack and loin. Just one that's a touch softer to the edges and maybe it isn't quite as fresh today. The young man that comes in third, I really appreciate how that sheep ties high to the top side of his shoulder and he's level down his spine. He carries some product up high, just a touch softer to his edges and doesn't have that same exotic kind of muscle shape to his lower leg. The one that follows him is another one that's carrying product down either side of his spine, but he's a little bit past his end point, in my opinion. He's just carrying a touch too much condition for my liking. And the young man that rounds out the class is one that I really appreciate on the profile. He's just a lighter muscled, plainer made kind of sheep. Thank you.
Receiving a purple ribbon, Jordan Mussel of Wilbur. Also receiving a purple, Grant Mussel of Wilbur. Receiving a purple ribbon, Lane Chanelli of Diller. Receiving blue ribbons, Ethan Hoffman Ideas of Cortland and Zach Chanelli of Jansen. Entering the ring now is for the overall champion Market Lamb, once again, our sponsors for this evening for the Sheep Show: Security First Bank of Beatrice, Mussel Club Lambs, Darrell and Lana Mussel Family, Scully Estates, Carriage Motors, Farmers Cooperative, DLT Family Farms, Gage County Farm Bureau, State Bank of Odell, Farm Credit Services of America, and Tim and Darla Acton.
It's been a pleasure to come out here and sort you guys' sheep today. When I got the phone call and they said it was a smaller sheep show, I didn't really know what to expect, but I've been blown away by the quality on both ends of the spectrum, top to bottom, good sheep through and through. So let's give all these exhibitors a round of applause. That being said, there's three really high quality sheep out here. I'm going to go ahead and show you which ones I like, and hopefully you don't run me off the place. So thank you.
Grand Champion Market Lamb, sponsored by Farmers Co-op, goes to Jordan Mussel of Wilbur. And we will bring in the second place from that class. The Grand Champion is sponsored by the Gage County Farm Bureau for the Market Lamb. The sponsor once again is Gage County Farm Bureau for the Grand Champion Market Lamb. Reserve champion goes to Jordan Mussel of Wilbur, and the trophy is sponsored by State Bank of Odell. Our next go-around will be the pen of 2 market lambs, and that is sponsored by Farm Credit Services of America and Tim and Darla Acton. Entering the ring is the pen of 2 market lambs. We should have a few more coming in for the pen of 2. Come on in. Once again, our judge for this evening is Emmett Caldwell of Lincoln, Nebraska.
again, top to bottom, just quality market lambs through and through with some different types and kinds. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and use the 2 here on this end for grand, those 2 right there for reserve. Thank you.
Champion pen of 2 goes to Jordan Mussel of Wilbur. Reserve champion pen of 2 to Grant Mussel of Wilbur. Receiving a purple ribbon, Hannah Chanelli of Jansen. Also receiving a purple ribbon, Zach Chanelli of Jansen. And receiving a purple ribbon also is Lane Chanelli of Dillard. The sponsors for our pen of 2 champions are Farm Credit Services of America, and reserve champion is sponsored by Tim and Darla Acton. That completes our 2021 Sheep Show. Congratulations. We would like to have the champions go over to the Gage County Fair and Expo display board for pictures. The photographer is on her way.